And finally, we return to National 2 West, where out of all the current table toppers in National League Rugby, Camborne have the biggest cushion at the summit after 7 wins from their first 8 games. They lead the way by 7 points after eventually shrugging off Exeter University in round 8. They scored 6 unanswered tries in the second half to seal a 54-24 win. But below Camborne, there's a lot of clubs jostling for position in these early stages of the season, and Taunton moved up to second spot in round 8 after coming out on top against Cinderford 28-17. Both clubs, of course, came down from National 1 last term, but after soaking up waves of Cinderford pressure, Taunton were able to claim a 5th win in a row. So just to show you the state of play in National 2 West then, and as we said, Camborne are the front runners, but then just 6 points separate the rest of the top half as we begin the second third of the season. So it is really, really tight at the moment in National 2 West. At the bottom, Devonport Services, who of course are a fully amateur side at this level, do prop up the division with just 4 bonus points to their name, with Hinckley and Macclesfield the closest side to them in the table. But our attention in National 2 West this week is towards the top of the standings, with 5th placed Old Redcliffians hosting league leaders Camborne at Scotland Lane. And Old Reds are our second featured club this week on the National League Rugby preview show, and their home record has been nothing short of phenomenal. It's 14 straight wins in a row now at Scotland Lane for Dan Cox's side, and it's a run of form which goes back to October last year, and it was certainly a major factor in the Bristol outfit finishing in a very, very commendable 4th place last term. But they will tell you, at Old Redcliffians, that they are far more than just an excellent sequence of results at home. So we caught up with Director of Rugby Dan Cox, as well as a few of the first team players, to find out a little bit more about the club, their progression in National 2 West over the last couple of seasons, and also, of course, their thoughts on hosting league leaders Camborne on Saturday.
I think 17 years ago, the club was in Somerset 1. And like Hornets were also at the same level, so it's, they got a similar story. But the club was in Somerset 1, and to put that into perspective, our second team are now 2 leagues above that level. So like for the whole club, it's been quite a journey. They'd flirted with the National League. They'd been in the National League 2 for a couple of seasons. When I took over, they'd been relegated after having a couple of years fighting near the bottom. But yeah, when I took over 5 years ago, the club had actually been relegated at all 3 senior levels. So they've been relegated at first team level, second team and third team level. And actually that was the COVID season. So I took over in the March. And then, my first season was interrupted by COVID. So we had the world's longest pre-season, like a year-long pre-season. But I'll caveat that with, I actually think it was really positive for the club, because all of the negatives of those triple relegations, and we had some financial struggles as well. By the time we came back post-COVID, we'd attracted some new players. We had re-engaged a load of ex-players, and we had a great community feel because we'd done so much over COVID together. So I think that's where the club really kind of started this turnaround in its fortunes.
I think I completely echo that. I think Coxie and the team, the coaching group around that, have built like a fantastic group of players and coaching staff over the past few years. I think we're slowly reaping the rewards. Obviously, finishing 4th last year in the National League, could have potentially got to 3rd if a few of the extra points went our way. So I think we're actually reaping the rewards of all that hard work pre and post COVID.
I've been at the club since I was like 6 years old. Had a couple of sabbaticals with other clubs, so Cinderford and Weston-super-Mare. So it's pretty much been man and boy, and the change in the coaching staff. I mean, I take my hat off to what Dan Cox and Geraint have done. They really have got the team singing perfectly, scoring a lot of tries. You've probably seen the results, conceding quite a lot of tries as well recently, so we're working hard on that. But yeah, I think the level of professionalism that has changed, it's probably been one of the main reasons why we've done so well. we don't have loads of money, so that is something that, you know, we don't chuck money at players. Everyone gets the same amount, and we kind of work as a group of players rather than having like a bit of elitism in the team.
Well, you just got to look at sort of the age group of pretty much the whole playing squad. Apart from a few of us, they're all like early 20s, and they're all keen to be a part of Old Reds, and they all want to stay here. No one's really moved on, and I'd say we're probably overachieving at the moment. Definitely with the sort of how young the players are, and the budget that we have got is mad to think that little Old Reds, that however many years ago we were in Somerset Prem, and now our twos play above Somerset Prem. So it's sort of unbelievable from where we have actually come.
We've got a very, very young team, but it's the culture. You know, Coxie and G have basically implemented that we want to be the best club to play rugby at in Bristol, and I strongly believe they've done that. It's probably it is the best environment that I've been involved in over my 20 years playing rugby. I've been in some pretty toxic environments, even at Old Reds. You know, it was different, and you know there is a real good strong culture at the club. The attractment is brotherhood. And that's a word that Coxie is implements into pretty much everything we do, in the brotherhood and supporting the man on the left, supporting the man on your right. And I think, you know, it's exciting, and that's what's kept me playing for this long. You know, I'm going for 200 caps this year at national level. I don't actually know how many I've got for Old Reds, but at national level, 200 caps, and the brotherhood is what excites me.
Me and a group of senior leaders in the committee, we spoke about kind of what we wanted our club identity to be. You know, we aren't finance rich. We speak about that, you know, often. We're not finance rich, but we are good people rich. There's a lot of really good people in the club, and they make Old Reds what it is, really. And yeah, we had a 5-year plan, if you like, to get back to the National League, and then the restructure of the leagues. Actually, we finished second in the league below, and all of a sudden we're swooped up 1 year into the 5-year plan, and you know, we kept a lot of those players, and a lot of those players had been at the club in the relegations as well. And yeah, we just, when we came back into the National League, it was about surviving and being sustainable, really. And then I think we surpassed our own expectations, and probably those of everyone else in the first 2 seasons. You know, it's, for us, it's when we're a club that hasn't got the finance to potentially, you know, go and really make these blockbuster signings that some other clubs are. Well, actually, like, I think having a really happy playing squad of people is probably more powerful. And that's not to say we always get it right, you know, but we're definitely trying to get it right.
Yeah, and I guess off the field as well, Dan, that was probably highlighted more so than most with the hashtag TryForEllis campaign that I know Old Redcliffians were very much behind at the start of the year. For those who don't know, Old Reds prop Ellis Joseph was diagnosed with leukemia at the start of the year and needed to find a bone marrow match for a transplant. And I think you said as well, Dan, it seemed to really galvanise not just Old Redcliffians, but the rugby community in general. So just tell us a little bit about the impact that the whole situation had on the club and how much it did bring everyone together in the community.
Yeah, it absolutely phenomenal, to be honest. It's definitely makes me a little bit emotional thinking back to the start of it. But it's probably the worst news that any rugby club could get, right, is that one of your members is that ill. And Ellis is a really special player to the club. You know, he's a National League centurion. He's 26 years old. He's kind of one of the heartbeats socially of the club. And yeah, you know, we were just thinking, when's he going to get back on the field, and when's he going to, you know, get his boots on and galvanise that scrum. So to be hit with that news was really tough. And we definitely met as a committee and coaches and senior leaders a lot to go, actually, this could go either way. Like, players might check out of this, and you know, that's okay. Everyone feels different, but you know, we could also galvanise. And actually, what we've seen was a whole club come together to really kind of get behind the man and his family and push things forward. But then what then transpired from the community was unbelievable, and not just the Bristol community. Like, we had celebrities across the country, you know, sharing our message, and we had Anthony Nolan and ACLT charity recording record numbers of sign-ups to the bone marrow register. And you know, we held some events ourselves, but then we had universities reaching out, and they're picking up 200, 400 people signing up, and they don't know Ellis. I mean, they just know that Ellis is a rugby player in Bristol. That's all that was needed to know. So yeah, really, really special. And like, lots of that work still going on. Ultimately Ellis, he doesn't need a bone marrow transplant at the moment. So he's undergoing kind of a different pathway to his treatment, but people are still signing up.
The way that the club rallied, and how they got a campaign going off of the ground, and they've put thousands of people on the stem cell register. I actually heard the other day that someone who is registered through the campaign has actually been used now for a transplant on somebody else. So it's done massive. I think, it's done massive for Ellis, definitely, and it's also helping other people. And that's just rugby, though. I think rugby drives together and comes together a little bit different. There's a different environment in rugby than what there is other sports, and I think that's the reason why we love it so much, Chris.
I think seeing him up on the sideline when you look across and he's still watching us, and we're all loving that. And yeah, like, I don't know, everyone sort of bought into that. And every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, everyone was getting together around each other if anyone needed to talk or whatever they were doing. And yeah, even this season, he seems to be getting on all right. And seeing him on the sideline, yeah, it's just unbelievable.
I think it's one of those that, it completely brought the group tighter together, and we all tried to do as best we can for Ellis, and whatever we could do to help, we tried to do that. And like you said, Ash, I think it's class seeing Ellis on the side of the pitch, whether it's with a Guinness or not with a Guinness. It's always great to see.
Well, I'm sure you lads are putting on a smile on his face, given the way you've been playing at Scotland Lane, certainly over the last year or so. 14 straight wins it is now, Dan, over a year since you guys last were beaten at home. So, internally, how proud are you of that record? And I guess the second part of the question is, how much confidence does it bring you when you arrive at the ground on Saturday, knowing that all you've tasted over the last 12 months is victory here?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing stat to have. Like, it's something that we're really proud of as a club, as in a group. So we pride ourselves that any team that comes down to Scotland Lane feels that pressure. We know up or down the hill, we know the boys to play that pitch. Coming up, the long drive up the lane into Scotland Lane is probably not the most favourable for some of the positions that are in more favourable positions in terms of a financial situation. But we know that that's our club and we love our club. So I'm sure there'll be a real great buzz around the club on Saturday with the old boys coming up and supporting as well. I think them and the committee are a massive part of that as well. We see them screaming on the sideline, whether it's an away trip or a home trip. So yeah, we'll get up to the club on Saturday buzzing. I'm sure it's going to be a spectacle for whoever comes and watches us versus Camborne at home.
A couple of games at home when we've been coming up to that year target, we've been making sure we've been putting that in the back of our mind and saying, like, we don't want to sort of lose this achievement. But yeah, it's hard. I guess when you got that slope, you got to play it in the right way. And it definitely favours us, obviously, the last year. And we've done all right out of it. So hopefully same again this weekend.
It's our patch, it is Scotland Lane. It's difficult for people to come to us. We know how to play it there. And I've tried multiple times to try and replicate the feeling when you go away and jump on a coach, but it's very hard to do, someone said to me the other day, "What is it?" And I don't know. It's very hard to. If you could bottle it up and sell it, I'd probably make quite a fair bit of money within the rugby world. But I don't know, mate. It's a special place, and definitely, I know this weekend's going to be a tough match. Got a few boys out, but we'll be giving it our all. There's no doubt about it, because we definitely want to be pushing that out another game, mate, on the win list.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to the players that play there. It means a lot to the fans, and for any clubs that have been to us this season, they'll know that from the old boys singing in the bar after, and just has a really nice feel to it that people want to come and be part of. And Old Reds is a proper rugby club. It's a proper rugby club, I would say, achieving extraordinary things with the financial structure and things like that we've got. And if we get us right, then I think we can beat anyone or be in a contest with anyone. Camborne, a fantastic team, really enjoy previewing them, but we've got areas of our game that they don't want to defend or won't want to defend, and they've got areas of their game that other teams don't want to defend. I think, like, the league is just about getting yourself right and ready, and I think if we do that and we fire the shots that we know we're capable of, then we're in the contest with anyone in the league. And more so, we do find it easier at home than we do away from home. Like, boys seem to yeah, that intoxicating nature of Scotland Lane, they boys do seem to raise it. So yeah, we're ready to welcome Camborne. We always have great games with them. So yeah, here we go.
So a big thanks to Dan and the old Redcliffians lads for their time this week. Really, really great to hear from them and find out a little bit more about what makes them tick at Scotland Lane. And that superb home record has been really, really pivotal to that, hasn't it? And that record will be, of course, tested by table toppers Camborne in round 9. So if you're in and around the area, around the Scotland Lane vicinity on Saturday, you'll be guaranteed entertainment. It hasn't been dull watching Old Reds this season at all. We've had dramatic comebacks, we've had stunning late victories, we've had tries galore, so why not experience it for yourself at the weekend? So let's just have a look at the rest of the National 2 West fixtures then, and we start with 2 clashes involving top half side. Cinderford will be looking to return to winning ways at the first attempt when they host 4th place Loughborough. The Students ended the first part of the season with a 36-all draw against Luctonians, which meant it was no winner in October for Martin Webdale's men. And it's 6th against 2nd with Clifton entertaining Taunton in round 9. Clifton may not have wanted the weekend off last Saturday. Given the run of form they've been able to stitch together in recent weeks. A 7-try win over Redroof last time out was a 3rd victory on the trot for them. So that can they pick up from where they left off against an in-form Taunton? Devonport Services versus Redroof. We've mentioned it a few times on the show this season, but Devonport have actually been in matches, been in the contest at half-time in a few games this term, but they haven't been able to convert those plus points into victory. So can they get off the mark at home against 10th place Redroof on Saturday afternoon? Exeter University versus Bourneville is one win in the last five for Exeter University, who welcome a Bourneville side who got straight back on the horse in round 8 after a 27-19 victory over Hinckley. And speaking of Hinckley, they welcome Macclesfield to Leicester Road on Saturday, and the visitors actually moved out of the bottom 2 in round 8. They claimed a 47-35 win over Devonport Services to continue their positive returns at home at Priory Park, but can they now translate that onto the road? 3rd place Luctonians will be aiming to arrest a run of no winning 3 when they host Hornets in round 9. That is easier said than done though, as the away side will arrive at Mortimer Park having won 4 of their last 5 games following a chaotic victory, but a satisfying victory over Old Redcliffians last time out, a 46-40 win for them at the Nest. So can they continue what has been a brilliant upturn in form for Hornets on Saturday? And as we've highlighted to round things off, Old Redcliffians do entertain Camborne at Scotland Lane in one of the fixtures of the weekend.